Hello and welcome back to Tales Untold. I'm Erica,
I'm Wyatt.
and today we are continuing our urban legends with part 3. And on the last one, we talked about you, Wyatt. You had some experiences with sleepovers and some of these urban legends.
Yes, so these creepy games that you would normally play at a sleepover, I actually have done some of them. So I'd like to start off with a game called Cat Scratch. Have you heard of this?
Yeah, I have not done any of these.
So Cat Scratch basically goes as you need two people to play it, and whoever wants the scratches to appear on their back lays on the other person's lap. They close their eyes, and then the person that you're laying on rubs your temples and tells you one of three stories, and all the stories end up by saying cat scratch, cat scratch, cat scratch. And now playing this, my experience with it is when I was laying down, it felt like I was falling into a pit of sand, just sinking. It was very weird. I didn't feel all there. And so after my friend had told me the story, I got up and there were three scratches on my back. And I actually do have some pictures, but the video definitely shows it best with the flash. Here, you can take a look at that.
Oh yeah, you got a couple scratch marks there.
Yeah, there was three, and my back was all red.
So there's no way that those could have been you guys wrestling a couple hours beforehand and then you didn't notice it? And then you did this and you noticed it?
I really don't think so. This was at 2 a.m. and we didn't scratch each other just to do this. And I did not feel a thing.
Yeah.
And the scratch marks looked fresh.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely looked fresh. That's why I was saying maybe earlier in the night you guys had done something.
Yeah.
And then you obviously only noticed because you looked. It was something you were looking for.
I don't think so, but I guess it's a possibility. Honestly, it was a little bit ago, so I can't entirely say for
what
sure.
You guys did during the sleepover.
Another thing that I did was Bloody Mary.
I've definitely heard of this one.
Yeah. So this actually did not work for me. Went in the bathroom with the candle, so Bloody Mary 3 times. Nothing happened. Just went about my night, whatever. Now, I'm going to go back to Bloody Mary in a second, but I did want to talk about another game that I did want to try, but I have not tried. Have you heard of Light as a Feather, Stiff as a Board?
I have, and I've kind of always wanted to try this one because the idea of floating kind of sounds like fun. But these were not the sort of things that the people I was friends with as a kid were into.
Yeah.
So we never actually did any of these.
So I'm not entirely sure how this game works because I've never actually looked into it to play it. I know I've heard of it and I've wanted to play it, but I haven't.
Well, you need quite a few people for it, right?
Yeah,
I think 5, right? At least
5 at least, yeah.
Now, I like to ask a lot of questions and I like to make sure that, things are what they are. But say somebody does do this, right? Say that it does happen and they do end up lifting this person off the ground, or this person is levitating inches off the ground. How? What would be a phenomenon that would create that? Would it really be something magical? Is it something paranormal?
I honestly have no idea.
I mean, it's definitely one of those unexplained things, but
does it actually work, though?
Right. That's kind of what it would come down to, but I guess I'm preemptively thinking what could cause this phenomenon other than, I mean, something had to have worked at some point for someone to believe, to create this legend, for us to think that this could potentially happen.
Yeah. I guess I'd have to try it to see if it actually works, and then I feel like I'd have those kind of questions.
You'll have to get back to us when you and your friends try this.
I'm sure it will happen. But before we go back to Bloody Mary, I'm sure everybody's heard of a Ouija board.
The Ouija board incident.
Yeah. So, for listeners out there, if you know me from my channel, my first ever video was talking about the Ouija board incident. Do not play a Ouija board. I do not recommend it at all. I broke all of the rules, and I got exactly what I was looking for and more. So one of the rules is you're supposed to say goodbye. Didn't say goodbye. You're also not supposed to play alone. I played alone. And nothing really happened for a couple weeks. It was just like whatever. I completely forgot about it. Basically, I went to my friend's house and I kind of connected the dots that it was the Ouija board, because after this really weird night, it happened throughout the entire night. There's like footsteps, weird noises outside, and like it was unexplainable because we kept opening his door and there'd be nothing there. And there's a whole lot of other stuff that happened, but I'm not gonna go too far into it. But just don't play the Ouija board.
No, I have never believed that a Ouija board is something to be played with. You never know what kind of door you can open, and you don't know how to open that door or close that door again. Like you could just end up in a lot of trouble. So like you kind of lucked out with your bad experiences. Were just a couple of weird sounds and experiences. How did you get it to stop?
So what I did, so actually, after that night, I kind of thought back and I was like, okay, a lot of weird stuff has happened. So like, then I thought of ways to get rid of it. So what I did was I bought sage and I buried the Ouija board with a note and some Epsom salt. I think I said that right. And I just kind of left it in the ground. The note said like, don't play it or whatever. And just buried it in the middle of the woods, where I don't think anybody will find it. But I actually lost all the footage for my original video for that, so I went back to just kind of show where it is, and nobody's going to really tell from it because it's just woods. But there was a fire pit built right over it, which was so weird to me. But
yeah, what are the odds of that? Somebody did find that area, and they used that exact spot
as a fire pit.
That's odd.
I don't know.
Wonder if they got called to it. So you dug it back up again?
No.
Oh.
But I remembered the spot because we had buried it like in a row of pine trees. Like it was like this little nook. There was like 8 pine trees all in like an incomplete square that we kind of buried it in there.
That's interesting. I wonder if maybe somebody just like got called to it, and then they ended up burning it.
I hope so.
That's interesting.
It was.
So, as I was saying earlier, I enjoy asking my questions.
Yeah.
So, why would a ghost... So you think you conjured up something that was bad?
Yeah. Like, I feel like whatever I did, it just kind of attached to me and just messed with me for a couple of weeks. Like, I truly believe that's what it was. I don't think it was the Ouija board demon that should not be named. Hold on, I'll type it in the search bar. I don't recommend saying it out loud. But that's that.
Really? I've never heard of there being a named Ouija board demon.
Really?
No.
But for the listeners out there, it just has a Z and an O 2 times.
Interesting. I did not know this.
Yeah.
I do not. I don't think I will ever play with a Ouija board. Just on the off chance that these bad things can happen, I have too much at risk I don't want to upheave my life just because of a Ouija board.
I don't think I'll ever play it again.
I wonder if maybe that wasn't necessarily a bad entity that was following you. Maybe it was just
Yeah,
something that was trying to get your attention. And it's trying to
maybe.
say like, hey, and it obviously was attached to you because
Mm.
of the Ouija board, but maybe it was just trying to say like, hey, I'm stuck here. I need you to put me back. Or like, hey, I'm stuck here.
Yeah.
I have unfinished business. Help me.
It's very
You know?
possible because like it never actually seemed like it intended harm. It was just freaky hearing those noises and stuff and those kind of things happening. Like
Definitely. People get freaked out really quickly
yeah.
when there's something that they can't explain.
And it kind of went away for a while and then it kind of started back up again, but then it just stopped. And then I went to the Conjuring house and then after that there were like 2 or 3 weird instances, but then they were just brushed off. Nothing's happened since, knock on wood.
Yeah, let's hope the Epsom salt doesn't get washed away.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, there was a lot used.
Did you use the Ouija board at the witching hour?
I think I used it at like 12 o'clock at night. Actually, what do you think is the witching hour? I know, like, people say, oh, 3 a.m., 3:30, 3 a.m., but then some people I saw were saying like 12 a.m., and I'm like, I always thought it was like around 3.
I know that the original idea of the witching hour came about in, I think, like the 1500s, when there was a big fear of witches.
Yeah.
When the Catholic Church was really afraid of witches and witchcraft, and they believed that that was when witchcraft was being practiced. And honestly, it probably was, because that's going to be, you know, the darkest before the dawn. That's going to be that time frame where everybody is 99% asleep, and whatever they are doing that they don't want people to see, they're going to get away with. You know what I'm saying? Like,
3 a.m.'s the darkest?
I mean, I can't tell you 100% for sure. I'm not a scientist, but like as that phrase, like it's darkest before dawn. So that's going to be your time where you're going to be able to get away with things.
Yeah.
You know, especially back then where they don't have, you know, closed circuit television. They don't have um you know, all they really had were watchmen. They had people walking around with sticks, or like not sticks, like the police battering bats.
I know what you're saying.
What the heck am I
Batons or
saying?
something?
Yeah, like the police batons, where they had people walking around like that. And even then, at that point, those people are exhausted. I worked overnights. I know exactly what it feels at 3 a.m. You're pretty much toast. So, and it's also before the widely spread of like caffeine, like what we have. Like they didn't have energy drinks. They didn't have that stuff. So, you know, in that time frame, that's when they were going out into the woods in the middle of the night to practice their witchcraft. Now, whether this was like witchcraft
or like,
if it was just pagans going out and celebrating their gods, which wasn't any more obscene or ridiculous than the way that the Catholics sing to their God.
yeah.
You know, like it's not, I don't know, but it was different, and that's what they believed it was back then. Something dark and dangerous.
You know the number 666, right?
Of course.
That's supposedly the devil's thing.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that number such a bad... Like, why does that give people, like, the heebie-jeebies? Like, I've never understood that. 666.
Yeah, I don't know the origins. I think a lot of the recent reasons that people are wary of it is, wasn't there a movie it was in, like The Exorcist or something, where the 666 was a big part of the theme of the movie?
Well,
so it
usually
became
with,
like a Hollywood thing. So now everybody knows about it. You know what I mean?
It honestly probably was The Exorcist.
I feel like it might have been, but I could be entirely wrong. Please, somebody let me know if I am entirely wrong.
Wait. I looked it up, and apparently it's the number of the beast, but apparently in the Bible, like, Hold on, I'll read it right here. This is from Wikipedia. The number of the beast is associated with the beast of Revelation in chapter 13, verse 18 of the book of Revelation. In most manuscripts of the New Testament and in English translations of the Bible, the number of the beast is 666. So maybe that's where it originated from?
So, if it's number 666 out of how many?
What do you mean?
Like, did they just in the Bible, I mean. So did they just randomly assign this number of 666 to this creature and there's not a 665? Or is there a 667?
Huh. I honestly have no idea.
I don't either. I've never heard of that explanation before.
Huh.
I think it's silly to try to say that a number is evil.
Yeah. Like, I don't understand how they can say, like, oh, 666 is evil. I mean, I guess that's kind of the thing now. Because, like, that's what everybody kind of correlates the devil with.
Yeah, and we've had several conversations about how the way that we perceive things can somehow manifest them.
Yeah.
Sort of like what we're going to talk about with the Bloody Mary. Where, like, if you truly believe that something is a certain way, that's what your brain is going to perceive. That's its expectation. Yeah. That's where you're going to end up.
It's like if you're expecting something, you're going to get it.
Right. So, like, Friday the 13th, people think 13 is a bad number.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to expect to have a bad day on Friday the 13th, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have a bad day.
There was actually just a recent one.
There was. And I actually released my short story collection on that day. It is now available as an ebook and a paperback on Amazon.
That's very exciting.
Yes, I'm very excited. This is my first official release of anything. I'm very excited about it.
What's the book called?
Tales Untold, just like our podcast.
It's pretty good. And where can you buy this?
Amazon.
It's pretty exciting. And you said there's 13 short stories? There
is 13 short stories. So hopefully this does well and proves us wrong on the number 13 being a bad number.
Yeah.
On Friday the 13th.
I do plan on reading those 13 short stories.
Well, let me know what you think.
I will. So, I think we should go back to Bloody Mary now.
Yes.
So, this is coming from Wikipedia. Bloody Mary is a legend of a ghost, phantom, or spirit conjured to reveal the future. She is said to appear in a mirror when her name is chanted repeatedly. The Bloody Mary apparition may be benevolent or malevolent.
Malevolent.
Yes, that word. Depending on historic variations of the legend, Bloody Mary appearances are mostly witnessed in group participation play.
I have never heard of her being conjured for the purpose of revealing the future.
Yeah.
That's new to me. I always thought she was just meant to be scary.
That's what I thought too. I thought it was just like one of those games. But maybe it didn't work for me because it says that it's supposed to be in a group participation type thing.
Oh, this is another one of the things you tried?
Yeah. Like I said, nothing happened, but
not as exciting as the Ouija board incident.
No. So everybody knows it's like go to a mirror with a candle, dark bathroom, chant her name 3 times, and then you'll see her. But there is actually on the Wikipedia page a phenomenon explanation. Staring into a mirror in a dimly lit room for a prolonged period can cause one to hallucinate. Facial features may appear to melt, distort, disappear, and rotate, while other hallucinatory elements such as animal or strange faces may appear. Giovanni Caputo of the University of Urbino writes that this phenomenon, which he calls the strange face illusion, is believed to be a consequence of dissociative identity effect, which causes the brain's facial recognition system to misfire in in a currently identified way. Other possible explanations for the phenomenon include illusions attributed, at least partially, to the perceptual effects of Troxler's fading. Troxler's fading, or the Troxler effect, is an optical illusion affecting visual perception when one fixates on a particular point for even a short period of time. An unchanging stimulus away from the fixation point will fade away and disappear. And possibly apophenia? I think that's what it is.
Mm.
Apophenia is the tendency to perceive meaningful connections between unrelated things. The term was coined by psychiatrist Klaus Conrad in his 1958 publication on the beginning stages of schizophrenia. He defined it as unmotivated seeing of connections. That's all it says on Google or
Interesting.
Wikipedia, or even self hypnosis.
So
Hypnosis.
that's a lot of science in a particular paragraph.
Yeah.
So essentially what they think everyone is experiencing is a type of hallucination? Or your brain misfiring?
I'm not sure.
I guess I could kind of go with a little bit of both. So, I mean, imagine you close your eyes really, really tight, right?
Yeah.
You start seeing like colors and skies, stars. Like
Yeah.
there's lights, sort of coming from nothing. So it's the idea that your brain is creating something out of nothing. I guess.
I know I've done that a couple times.
And I
like
think
with a pile of clothes or something.
Yeah, and especially in the dark, and your brain is trying to make sense of it, so it perceives that it's a person.
Yeah.
And I think this also kind of comes back to what we were just talking about what you want to happen ends up happening because that's what you perceived to have happened.
Yeah.
Like you go into this bathroom with a candle with the expectation to see
seeing
Bloody Mary. Your brain is going to show you what you believe her to look like.
Yeah.
So
it says that the Bloody Mary apparition allegedly appears as a corpse, witch, and ghost that can either be friendly, evil, or demonic.
So that sounds like something that it's whatever that person that went in there is expecting to experience.
Yeah, so like whoever, like, say I thought of Bloody Mary as someone in a wedding dress covered in blood. That's what I would see.
Right.
If
Yes.
Yeah,
that's your perception. So if you did happen to see something that day, or you know what, you went in there not believing that it was going to happen,
and it didn't happen.
So it didn't happen. Like that could have been
I guess
part of it.
Thinking back, like I didn't believe the Bloody Mary thing would work because I thought it was stupid. That's why I did it. I did think the Ouija board would work. That's why I got it and did it. And then the cat scratch
You did it because you believed it would work.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
I don't know. I was curious. And then the cat scratch thing I was kind of like 50-50 with. But I did it anyway. Now, it does say that there is some debate on the identification of Bloody Mary.
That was my next question. Who is she?
So, coming from Wikipedia, word for word, there is some debate on the identification of Bloody Mary and if she is based on a real woman. A number of historical figures have been put forward as candidates for Mary, including Mary I of England, daughter of Henry VIII, and Catherine Aragon. I think I said that right? Who had around 300 religious Protestant dissenters burned at the stake during her reign, earning her the nickname Bloody Mary. Elizabeth Bathory, I think that's how you say that, a 17th century Hungarian countess who allegedly tortured and killed around 660 girls and women, bathed in their blood, and was accused of vampirism. And Mary Worth, who has been identified as either a woman who killed slaves escaping the American South via the Underground Railroad, or a woman who was burned at the stake during the witch trials in the early modern period.
Those are very drastic stories for that same person.
That is. Honestly, I don't believe the last one. Like, I don't think that's Bloody Mary.
I don't think that could have, like, I mean, if that last part was the only one that they said was for this person, I could say it could potentially be her.
Yeah.
But also, a lot of these claims of seeing Bloody Mary is not of a burned woman.
No.
It's typically somebody that is covered in blood, but not burns. And those are very distinctive characteristics. You know, it's not like you could easily mistake one for the other.
I feel like Elizabeth Bathroy could be it. She's the one that killed around 660 girls and women and then bathed in their blood.
Have you not heard of her before?
No, I have not.
So I've heard of her a lot. So I actually recently discovered a bit of an origin story as to where she got this idea. So I guess one of her handmaids had made her angry, and so she hit her.
Oh.
She, backhanded her. And she actually caused this woman to draw blood. So she ended up with this handmaiden's blood on her hand. And when she went to wipe it away, she believed that the hand, or on her hand, the skin beneath the blood was now younger than what it had been before. So this is where she got the original idea of, oh, if these young women, if their blood can make me younger.
So that's where she kind of got a bloodlust?
That's where she got the idea that bathing in their blood made her younger.
That's sick. Bathing in blood?
That's gross.
Like, I don't, get sick of the sight of blood, but I also don't like blood.
Well, you also don't slit people's throats and wrists with the expectation of bathing in their blood.
That's fair. I don't think I've ever done that.
I don't think you've ever intentionally drawn blood from a human.
No.
So I think that in and of itself is a special experience.
Yeah.
I do know, which I find actually rather impressive for the time that she lived in, that they actually prosecuted her within her lifetime.
Really?
Yes.
Back then too?
Yep. They actually tried her and put her, I think they put her to death.
Was this the 1600s?
Yes.
Because it's the 17th century, right?
I think that's how that works.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, it's one. Yeah. So
Some of those weird.
yeah. So so in the 1600s, they actually prosecuted this woman. So I find that relatively impressive.
Yeah, that is impressive.
Like, that's typically one of those things where that person is in such a reign, a political status, if you will, a social status, that they don't touch this person. And then we find out that they did these things, present day. And it's like, what? But nobody did anything about it back then. But in this case, they actually did, which I find very interesting.
Especially while she was still alive, too.
Yes.
Like, back then a lot, they would find out, after they'd already died and there was nothing they could really do.
Yeah. So, yeah, I find it very, very peculiar that, I mean, it's also impressive that she got away with killing 660 women.
And bathing in their blood.
Before. So there's no way she did this on her own. So she definitely had her probably more handmaidens that were probably just looking out for themselves. Like, all right, don't kill me, but I'll help you.
Yeah.
Or maybe they were just out of her age range of what she was looking for. I don't know. Either way, she could not have been mentally okay.
No.
The first one there, Mary of England. She had
she could have been it too.
Maybe, but again, that's burning people.
But I don't think that really matters, does it? Because that would be a lot of blood on her hands. I think it doesn't matter.
I guess.
Because
and they actually nicknamed her Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
So if that's true, sure. All right, she could have been one of the main reasons that this happened. And Elizabeth, I mean, why would they call her Bloody Mary? Her name's Elizabeth. That doesn't make sense. How are those two connected? Why would they name her Bloody Mary if her name is Elizabeth?
Her name is Mary.
No, the other one. The Hungarian countess who was bathing in people's bloods.
Yeah.
She, her name is Elizabeth. Why would they nickname her Bloody Mary? Her name's not Mary.
That doesn't really make sense.
That doesn't make sense.
The only part that makes sense about that is that she bathed in blood.
Absolutely.
I feel like the most reasonable, like the most one that makes sense is definitely Mary the First of England.
Yeah.
She killed 300 religious Protestant dissenters. And she supposedly got the nickname Bloody Mary.
Yeah, I mean, these things typically come from something.
Yeah.
You know, like they even urban legends, like when we were talking about the Mothman. It was something that was something at one point. But I mean, that doesn't make it real.
It doesn't make it fake either.
Correct.
Because like something always comes from somewhere. Just like this urban legend, Slender Man. So, the Slender Man is a fictional supernatural character that originated as a creepypasta internet meme created by Something Awful forum user Eric Knudsen, also known as Victor Surge. In 2009, he is depicted as a thin, unnaturally tall humanoid with a featureless white head and face wearing a black suit. Have you ever heard of this guy?
I have not. So what is he supposed to do? Does he show up in dreams like the Hat Man? Does he he's fictional?
Yes, but there is actually something that happened.
That created this creature?
Not created, it's just something. I'll get into it in a second. Okay. But Slenderman is just some like creepy thing that was in a video game, and creepypasta is like just a website for creepy stories. And Slenderman is basically just a tall guy in a suit with a featureless face, like it said, and he just kind of.
Okay, so this would have been the third time we have tried to record about Slenderman. But as we went back to listen to the original audio that we did, we discovered that as soon as we started talking about Slenderman and we were describing him, all of our audio was empty. There was nothing. At all. It is a huge blank gap in our recording. And on this original one, our voices come back just as we finish our discussion on Slenderman.
Yeah, it like comes back as you're saying, alright, is there any other topics? Like right as the Slenderman thing ends.
Yes, so all of our audio is gone, and it's so strange. And so we tried recording it a second time, thinking that something was wrong with our cheap microphones. Then we tried a second time to record them, and our microphone stops recording all on its own. It makes a little boop sound, and it stops. So we hit the record button again, thinking we could just continue. And about 9 minutes in, it makes the boop sound again, that it's not recording anymore. And so we go to play back our audio for that 9 minutes, and it is 9 minutes of nothing.
Like, at all. Like, we were reading from the Wikipedia page about Slenderman and the stabbing that had happened. Everything completely gone. We read about the court file and stuff, and, like, how they needed, like, psychiatric help. And then we were just getting into other incidences.
Like the windows are open. We can't even hear the bugs in the background. We can't hear my fan above my head. There is no sound.
Like, it was completely silent. And this has been like the second or third time we have tried to record this Slenderman part for episode 3. And it's not a space thing on the phone for recording or anything like that. It's not the microphones, because right after that 9 minute blank one, we recorded a part just
A tester.
talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it picked it up just fine.
Yep.
So I do not know.
And even trying to record this, trying to say that we had these issues,
It stopped.
it stopped trying to record on us.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to do with this. So we are going to have to leave Slender Man perhaps to his own episode
I think he wants
on
his
a
own
future
episode.
date. Yes. So we're probably going to have to let him have his own episode.
Yeah. So I guess be ready for that.
Mm-hmm. This has been part 3 of Urban Legends.
I'm Wyatt.
I'm Erica. Thank you for listening.
This is Tales Untold.